Hey folks, welcome to Affiliate Nerd Out. I'm your nerderator, Dustin House, spreading that good word about affiliate marketing. You're going to find me here every Thursday at noon Pacific time. Stop on by with me and a guest. And my guest today, Amina, CEO of Influence Space. Welcome to the Nerdatorium.
Thank you. Hi, Dustin. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm very excited to talk influencer marketing with you today. You are an expert in this field. You're running an agency that is specializing it, and we're going to talk influencer marketing trends, what it isn't, and how it includes affiliate marketing as well. But before we get into that, if you want to sit in Amina's seat, come to dustinhouse.com/nerd. I've got a long list of future guests already, but doesn't mean you can't put in a little application to see what you want to nerd out about. But without further ado, Amina, who are you?
It's a great question. Yeah, as you already mentioned, I'm the CEO of Influence Space. It's an influencer marketing agency, and we have a goal that I will tell you about a little bit later. But before that, why I even ended up doing this. I've been in influencer marketing and in marketing in general for about 10 years now. And this since the beginning, I always found myself working with influencers even when it wasn't a part of my job.
Okay.
Well, I guess that's how I got into it. At one point after leaving another company, I was like, okay, what do I want to do now? Yeah, that's how I switched to influencer marketing, affiliate marketing, and I started focusing specifically on that area.
Okay.
What excites me the most about this is that I get to build the bridge between the brands and influencers and their audience and connect 3 points and make it work. It's like a puzzle that you really have to put together to create the value, to communicate, to deliver the value to the audience. That's what influencer marketing for me, and that's how I ended up starting my own agency like 7 years later after working for multiple brands, multiple agencies, and having that experience on both sides. I At some point I was like, okay, what do I want to do? It was the beginning of 2024. I was like, okay, now I need to really think what I want to do in the long term. And yeah, I left the company, and just this idea of having my own agency. I didn't have that clear idea how what exactly it's gonna be and how, but I know exactly what I want to do. I want to build a place that brands can come to and just create, and not create, but the place where brands and influencers would feel safe
Yeah.
to communicate, to meet each other, and to have benefit, both of them. So I would love to be that bridge. That was my idea. So
That's
that's how Influence Space was created. And yeah, it was summer last year when I applied with my lawyers, and I was scared of doing this, but excited at the same time. And yeah, now we are slowly growing, and I would say my agency's goal is to stay ROI friendly for brands
okay.
and at the same time bring value and bring geek and interesting projects to influencers. I don't take anybody's side. I'm in between and I'm helping both. And that's what my agency does. And we are small. It's just 3 people, but that's also a part of my goal to stay as a small team because that helps us to stay budget friendly for brands that we work with. That's
I think that's a natural progression of things in this industry is get your feet wet and then go and be a consultant and build that into an agency if that's what you want to do. But with that, tell us more about your agency, what you guys do, and who you're serving out there.
we serve brands from different categories. Right now, I would say our clients 90% beauty brands. And my team, it's not just people that I hired online for this agency specifically. No, it's a part of my team from the previous company that I worked with, that I hired, coached. So these are the people that I was managing, leading, coaching, and they joined the company, the previous company that I was working for as junior specialists. Now they are team leaders, and I'm very proud of my team. And my agency's focus is to like I mentioned before, is to fill in the gap between brands and audience and help them understand each other. And we serve anybody who needs our help, basically. If it's a brand from a beauty industry, that's perfect because we have a huge background in this field. And wellness, we worked in the past with my team. I'm saying we because I worked with these people for so many years. And we, in the past, we worked with wellness, sport brands, beauty. We worked with fintech. We worked with a lot of different brands. So I know what my team is capable of. I know what value we can bring to brands, and yeah, that's what we do.
Well, beautiful. All right. Well, our topic of the day is going to be all about influencer marketing trends coming into 2025. And we're going to start off small and talk about influencer marketing. So, what is it to you?
Influencer marketing for me is the oldest type of marketing, actually.
Ooh,
The
okay.
first the first type of marketing that was ever existed. Because the first type of marketing is actually a word of mouth. People talk about certain things they tried, products, places. And that's how it was back then. Like years ago, people would talk about they didn't have internet, they didn't have social media. They were talking like we are talking right now.
Yeah.
And if we are, for example, somewhere in the bar and I tell you like, hey, I tried this cool app, wonderful. And this is the conversation. And this is what people were doing back then. That's how they were promoting something. Of course, not intentionally, but that's how it was. And throughout time, this form of marketing actually changes
Okay.
because technology came into our lives, social media, different platforms, TV, radio, everything was slowly getting into our life. And now we have what we have, a lot of different options, online, internet, apps, social media. But that first type of marketing, word of mouth, transformed into influencer marketing because now what we do, we hire influencers to talk about certain things. Just the platform, what has changed is the platform. It's online now. It's not in the bar. It's not in your living room and not in the kitchen. It's online. It's on Instagram, on TikTok, wherever it is. So for me, it's the oldest type of marketing and it will never die, basically. People can get tired of paid ads. People can turn them off. People can control what they want to see in paid ads. But word of mouth and people talking about certain things that will be, you cannot shut someone, I'm sorry, speaking my French, but you cannot shut someone up and just don't talk about it, right? I'm not interested. You cannot click those three buttons, like three dots and just, no, I'm not interested. Don't show me that again, right? If it's your friend. So the same with influencer marketing. You follow people on social media that you're interested in, that you like content that they create. And of course, sometimes you might see and you might hear what they are talking about. So that's the word of mouth. That's the oldest type of marketing that exists. It will transform, of course. It will change. The shape will be different. The platform will be different. And in 5, 10 years from now, I'm even a little bit scared to imagine what's going to happen, but what platforms we will have. But I believe, strongly believe that influencer marketing will stay, might change, might adapt to something else, but it will stay.
Yeah. You say it's the oldest form of marketing, and I envision a caveman selling a club to our caveman, and how this one beats beasts over the head. The better, it's lighter, and he's not on a soapbox like Ooga Booga in. That was the first influencer was thought bag.
Exactly. Those are the first influencers.
All right. What about affiliate marketing and influencer marketing? Should these two fields be conjoined together, in your opinion? I've heard mixed theories about this, how they are two different channels, but Bob Glazer and Todd Crawford always talked about how affiliate marketing failed to capture influencer marketing before it even got its feet wet in the
Mm.
social media space. But what are your thoughts? Are these two worlds collided, in your opinion?
It depends on how you combine them. It depends on how you do it. But I wouldn't recommend mixing the two.
Okay.
because the budgeting is different. The financial part of both of them is different, not completely different, but slightly. And the capabilities are also different. And so, yeah, I wouldn't say that they're completely different. You might still have them in one department. The same team might do both, but I would still have a different strategy for affiliate marketing and influencer marketing.
Okay.
And to elaborate more on that, and I don't know if maybe I predict your question, but I believe more in affiliate marketing right now than it. I think it's changing, and that's where the trend is going.
Oh, that is great to hear. So you're saying the influencers out there are starting to trend towards affiliate marketing rather than the traditional sponsorships.
Exactly, exactly. Long-term affiliate marketing with each influencer that you work with. But what I would suggest, for example, and whenever I have conversations with potential clients, what I do, for example, a lot of them, they don't know what to do. In affiliate marketing, ambassadorship program, influencer marketing, they are confused. So what I recommend is you start with influencer marketing because once you get one post, you see how it performs, how that specific audience of that specific influencer react to your product or service. And then when you have 20, 30 influencers who posted about you, you choose the best ones, and that's when you start building your affiliate marketing with those influencers. That's what I suggest doing. And then, yeah, of course, after doing affiliate marketing for a little bit with those influencers, you can turn them into ambassadors, which is another trend actually that's happening. Yeah, that's the strategy that I always recommend to those brands who they are just at the beginning. They haven't done anything before in that field, and they need to find the tool that would work for them.
Fantastic. And that segues perfectly into the strategy of sponsorship, affiliate, or hybrid. And it sounds like you're buying sponsorships early to get them in the door, transitioning them into an affiliate marketing relationship. Is that your normal workflow, or are you initially trying to do a hybrid immediately with the influencers you're trying to work with brands with?
It's a great question, actually. It depends. It depends on the brand because for it doesn't work for everybody. One flow doesn't work for everybody because some brands they already have experience. They come to me with some background, with some knowledge about what works for them or what doesn't, what they want to do. So it I keep it very personalized and I talk to the brands and then I decide what strategy would work for them. And so yeah, to answer your question, no, there is no one flow that we always follow, and I keep it flexible depending on what the brand needs and what they've done in the past. If there's nothing that they have done in the past and they're absolutely new and they are lost in this world, then yeah, I suggest that we start with one-time partnership. We see how it works. If it doesn't, we skip it. If it works well, we have great result. We start, building affiliate relationship, and yeah, and we go from there. But it depends on two things actually: what the brand actually needs, and if they have any experience in the work coming to.
Okay, great. So let's say you take on a brand, just say they're doing seven figures annually and they've never dabbled in an influencer, but they have an affiliate program. Budgeting for the influencer marketing channel, like what would you say is a good starting point? Can I do this for $2,000 a month and get rolling? What do you suggest to brands?
I love your questions. The budgeting is also a very two 2000 no,
2,000? No? You want
2000.
higher? You want more?
Okay, right now let's break it down. We have two things to pay for. First, collaborations with influencers, so it's influencer budget. But that's the separate thing. And service fee that brands usually pay to my team
Sure.
to, to to have us work.
Right.
So let's put the service fee aside. We don't talk about it now. Not yet. So for influencer budget, again, depends on what all of the brand can do and what they want. But of course, we can work with 2,000, but then you will have five influencers max, and they will be small. Small is good. Actually, small influencers, they work sometimes even better in the than the bigger ones, so it's not the bad thing. But if you really want to see what works for you in influencer marketing, you have to start with a bigger batch of influencers.
All
The
right.
five will not give you enough information. It's not a very insightful test. So I would start with 10 influencers a month at least to see actually what works for you. And in this case, w- for example, my team, as I mentioned before, we try to stay ROI friendly. That's our goal, and budget friendly for the brands. To hire 10 influencers at least, I would start with 6, 7 thousand a month.
Okay.
That would be minimum. Yeah.
Love that strategy. So you can, safely assume like maybe a 10K budget altogether. I don't know what your agency costs are, but I would assume you're going to create some kind of flat fee plus incentive for all the deals or like all the sales that break out. We won't get into that, but like 10K seems like a safe roundabout number to get started with maybe a 6 month commitment to see if it works out for your brand.
12, 13. Let's say.
All right, 12, 13. You got it. All right. And speaking of influencers, I'm going to thank my sponsor of the day, and that is Magic Mind. I don't know if you've ever tried this, but this is one of my favorite products right now. It comes in a tiny little bottle here. You guys can see that. I love these things. Famously start my day at about 4:30 in the morning, 5 days a week, and I am working that midnight oil, but I need to get things done. And by 2 o'clock, I am just wasted. And I I need a pick me up. And this is like a Red Bull, but it is healthy for you. It has vitamins, minerals, things that your body needs. And go to dustinhouse.com/mm. Give this thing a try for yourself. You will not regret it. I'm a big fan of this, and I have one of these every day. Give it a look.
Well, like before you move on, I'm actually a big fan of these kind of things. Yeah, supplement. Just I have my kitchen full of them. For how long have you been using this?
Probably 3 months now, I would say, and just loving it. I It's a subscription model too, so they send you a box of them every month, however many you need, and I need 5 days a week, so that's how many I buy, and it's
Oh,
super convenient, just shows up on my doorstep, I put it in the fridge, and I pop one in the afternoon, and I can finish out my day using it. And, like, I'm very health conscious about what I'm putting in my body, so I don't put caffeine after my 1 cup of coffee, I don't put any sugar, Red Bull, that kinda thing is not for me, but these things are amazing. You get that boost. Getting back into it, we'll go into what's hot right now. What is the trends in influencer marketing that you're seeing right now?
definitely the first thing that I would point out is UGC. And from talking to different brands and over the past maybe 3 years, I see that it's growing and getting more and more popular. What does it give to a brand? What do they gain from working with UGC creators? So basically, it's very budget friendly because influencers, they are not required to post anything on their social media, and they don't have to have big social media accounts. Those 2 points, they reduce the fee significantly. It's like super low, which helps you to build great, strong return on investment because you invest actually a lot less than you make. And that's the first thing. Second is, of course, you get content created by great, talented influencers because they are getting very good at this. And that's what we prioritize at Influence Space whenever we work. And we work with a lot of UGC creators. And to elaborate more on that, now for most of our clients, we're actually switching to UGC only. And that's what we prioritize. We select influencers carefully because we are picky. Yes, they don't have to have big accounts and they don't have to post anything, but they have to know how to create good quality content that will represent the brand in the best way. And they have to deliver the message and communicate the value. So those are things that we prioritize, and UGC works great. And actually, what I've noted is that sometimes working with UGC creators, you might, especially if it's a well-known brand, and two of my clients, they are well-known brand in the States. Whenever they see who reached out to them, they get super excited and they post about the brand. They post the content that they created without even us asking. So UGC gives you a lot of options to play with. So that the trend number one and is growing actually very fast. Another trend that I'm seeing is micro and nano influencers. And I would say that it was a trend in 2024. It started building up. The brands they started noticing that yeah, it's actually that's what works. Not influencers with millions of followers. And I'll explain why. Because small influencers, they don't have to try too hard to stay in touch, to stay in touch with their audience. The engagement rate is just so high. And yeah, in their audience, they feel like they know this person. And that connection, that personal connection, it's a great platform for selling anything. Not anything, but you have to choose your influencer wisely. But it's a great platform. Yeah, and micro nano influencers, and actually for one of the brands that we work with now, we do only micro and nano influencers and UGC. So those are two things that they really like, and it
Yeah.
works. It performs wonderful.
With those nano and micro influencers, I've noticed that they are much hungrier than those mega influencers, right? Once you get to a certain level, like you stop caring as much and maybe like you're been burned by other brands, so you're tainted
Yeah.
in but the micro and the nano influencers are hungry to do a good job, to have a good experience because they wanna have that repeat business come to them, especially on a product that they're very interested and their audience is in tune with.
Exactly. That's actually a good point that you mentioned that they are hungry, a lot hungrier than bigger influencers, but you have to be careful here because that hunger creates gets too much sometimes that they might say yes to anybody, any
Ah,
brand.
okay.
And sometimes you open their social media, and now it's a tip for influencers: be picky who you work with. I know at the beginning you try to get as many deals as possible, but be careful because what you do at the beginning actually will play long term in the future. So you have to be careful. You have to pick your niche, you have to pick your goal and your path, and you have to follow it. Everything else then will come in place. Don't worry about it. But for brands now, whenever you choose smaller influencers, if you decide to work with them, be careful and really investigate their social media. Don't work with influencers just because they said yes. Actually look through their social media, and sometimes you can see that every third, second post is a promotion of something.
Yeah.
And usually it's like very random brands. Like they are so different from each other. So that creates mess in audience's interests. So that is actually the beginning of the fail, basically, because
Ah,
that platform will never sell because people they see the post it's promoting like a I don't know kitchen silverware or something, and they follow because they saw that, and the next promotion is like skincare, which is it, and in new audience they comes and they follow for that, and this way as an influencer you create that mass in your audience, which is yeah, the beginning of the fail of your and then it's actually very hard to recover from that and actually start building your not just building, but actually rebuild your social media moving forward. It will be super difficult. So it's so much better to do it at the beginning. I understand influencers and small ones, they want to say yes to anything.
yeah.
Natural. It's they get very excited about brands coming to them and asking you to promote something, free product and everything. But yeah, you
It
be
it sets them up for the future if they're picky and choosy about which brands that they're
yeah,
working with, right? And it goes a long way with your audience that you're not selling out for just any old product. It's things that you believed in, and that message comes off a lot better. What should we be focused on in influence? What should brands be focused on right now?
uh, brands. I would say it's my number one tip for brands when they start working with us.
Okay.
really target your niche. Because sometimes I see, especially with beauty brands, they come to us and we discuss the strategy and what influencers will be targeting. And they just say, okay, we want lifestyle or beauty influencers.
Okay.
This is actually a mistake because lifestyle influencers and even beauty influencers, they have their audience, and the audience is very they have a wide range of interests. And the chance that you will actually hit your target audience in that wide range is very low. You really have to focus, you have to stay focused on what your brand value is, what your product value is, and you have to align that with your audience, with influencers' audience.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will be just, you're, you know, shooting the stars with a machine gun. It's never gonna happen. You will never reach it. You will never hit the target. So yeah, really target your niche. And what else? Give Always give creative freedom to influencers. Of course, you have
Creative.
to choose them wisely, because sometimes you can give creative freedom to wrong people, and they will create a mess. You have to provide guidance, of course, but micromanaging every single word they put in their caption or whatever they're saying to control everything they do, it destroys the partnership, because you have to keep in mind that influencer that you pick has their own tone of voice, their style, communication style, and they know better than you what works for their audience. So you have to trust them. And from my experience, I noticed that I'm gonna be vague about this, but I would say 80% of partnerships created with creative freedom, they work and they perform better than the ones that were just micromanaged.
That's a great stat. I don't know. I feel the same way. Like micromanaging somebody is a way to kill the creative side of content. If you're willing to work with the creator, give them guidelines, but don't take away their creative capabilities. Great call on that. As far as like any tips you can break out that's going to help elevate brands' ROI on the budget that they're utilizing with the influencers?
Of course, now with the experience that I have, and I'm thinking about multiple brands that I was working with, and of course, I'm not allowed to disclose the names.
Okay.
But for one of them, we actually had ROI almost $4 million. That was the return on investment, and that was mixed. That was hybrid collaborations. Sometimes it was with usually bigger influencers. We did one-time partnership, and those collaborations, they were specifically for brand awareness because it was a new product entering the U.S. market. And with smaller influencers, because they are more effective for selling products, we were doing affiliate marketing and ambassadorship program to elevate your return on investment and to not lose money, to not waste it. I would suggest always mix and play around and see what works for you. If you're a new brand, make sure that you break down that you have three strategies, two groups of creators that you work with. It can be one time influencers, like standard traditional influencer marketing. It can be affiliate marketing, it can be ambassadorship program. What I would suggest to elevate a return on investment is to mix, and always every month, and that's what we do at Influence Space as well. Optimize. See what worked, see who performed the best, and focus on those people. And at the end, yeah, sure.
Maybe one of the greatest things about working with agencies like you is that you're going to recognize what to be tracking and how to keep track of all of these instances, because if you just try to go out and do this on yourself and you're not super familiar with it, first you're going to struggle with the outreach and getting people to comply with what you're looking to do. But the bigger thing is you're not going to recognize what's working and what's not. But agencies are out there you have this so fine tuned that it makes their life easier in the long run.
That's actually a great point, especially about the outreach, because that's one of the biggest problems that brands usually mention on the first call that we have. You're like, okay, we tried, we reached out to 50 people, we got one response, we don't know what to do with this. At Influence Space, over the past like 5 years of working with my team for multiple projects, we developed, I think, a pretty good. I'm actually proud of our outreach system. I'm not going to reveal the secrets, but I will give some tips. But actually, our open rate is very high compared to, for example, what brands have and what they tell me, because now we have an open rate of 48% of the first letter, and it's actually high. It's considered high because yeah, especially if it's a new brand, they struggle a lot to have that first response from an influencer. So
Sure.
yeah, outreach it's like it's like breaking the ice with an influencer. So we have to make sure that you do that first quote correctly. And yeah, like you mentioned, agencies, they are trained, they have learned it the hard way. So it's always better to at least consult with them. If you are not ready to work with an agency, which is also fine, at least consult and at least get some information, or
Good
at least
idea.
at least get it started, like work for 1 month, lower budget, and then just get it rolling.
Absolutely. Great idea there. And you mentioned open rates, and that's on email. Is email like your preferred outreach method rather than direct messaging?
I find it the most effective, but we always mix, because you have to keep in mind that influencers, for example, for me, I always have my Gmail open. Always. I think I sleep with my Gmail like in front of my face open. But you have to keep in mind that for influencers, it's not the case. And the main platform they use is the social media platform that they utilize the most.
Okay.
Sometimes what we do, and now I'm sharing tips with the brands. When you send a cold email letter, the first one, you don't get a response. Of course, you have to send follow-up email in 3 days, and you don't get a response again, go and send a DM from your professional and not personal. Don't read in your personal account. Of course, sometimes we have, for example, I try to keep my Instagram somewhere between personal and professional. So, for example, if I have to reach out to an influencer from my personal account, at least they know where I work and what my title is. So, yeah, if you're being ghosted by influencers or on email, it doesn't mean that they're not interested. Sometimes they just don't open their email that much.
Everybody communicates a little bit differently, right?
Of course,
That's
you have to be flexible. You have to have multiple tools and options, and you have to keep your mind open.
for sure. I like that. All right. Well, as we wrap up here, just one final, if you're not working with an agency, what SaaS products are you going to suggest for brands to be utilizing out there to help them in influencer marketing?
Hmm. Are we saying names here?
Yeah.
For example, for one of my clients, we are using Affluence, and it's a great platform. It depends, of course, on your budget, depends on your needs as a brand. But yeah, that's a great platform that I enjoyed using. For another brand, yeah, we use multiple platforms because usually the brands, they give us access to what they
Sure.
and the other one that I really love is Creator IQ.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what they are doing, how much they work on this one, but it's a great platform. It might, yeah, you should be ready that it's not super budget friendly. I assume it might be. I don't know the exact price, but I see from everything from the experience that I have with this platform, I can tell that it's expensive. The guys, they are doing amazing job with this platforms. The tracking system is just on point. So those are the two that I would recommend. If you want to stay on our budget friendly side, do the manual search, and you have a lot of like Trend Hero, I think, is the platform that you can use for free. You don't even have to sign up for a free trial. But I'm just trying to give more
Uh,
options for the beginners, for example, the new brands that they don't, that, for example, they don't have budget for bigger platforms. Trend Hero is very budget friendly. You can use it for free without even like a free trial. And then yeah, to what I also recommend doing is to measure your open rate. You have to see who actually read your email and see who replied. So in this case, HubSpot is a great option, and Mailchimp. So those are email platforms. And yeah, I know that right now I'm not answering your question there.
No,
It's just for all kinds of brands if you are not limited or not super limited in budget. Yeah, Upwords, Radar Q, great. If you're on a budget side and you don't have a lot of a budget for fancy platforms, yeah, Trend Hero, maybe MailChimp is a lot cheaper than
sure.
so yeah.
Yeah, great suggestions there. I'm not familiar with Creator IQ, but I'm gonna have to be. I'm a big, huge fan of Upfluence myself, and Inflection actually took and built an internal tool utilizing their open source. So Inflection has now the capability for every brand that we work with on the platform to utilize that system, and it looks absolutely beautiful. And then, of course, what was that?
Yeah, I just remembered because I had a wonderful demo done by Inflection for me, and they showed me their platform, and now they have this feature where you can also discover new influencers, and it's so detailed. You have so many filters, and I'm obsessed with those kind of filters, and because it narrows down your search and it makes your life easier. So yeah, that's actually a great option for the brands, for example, in the middle and even with budget friendly. So Inflection is definitely a great option.
I'm gonna have to give you a demo of Appy Stash as well. That's a more budget friendly. That's my SaaS product, but we can help find influence and target them and find who's
Please
ranking. Come
do that.
check that out. All right. As we wrap up, how do we connect with you?
You can connect with me, well, my website, our agency. We have a little shy website, but you can definitely reach out to me through the form on my website. You can find me on Instagram and just send me a DM there. It's _Mina. And yeah, it's that Instagram profile that I told you guys about. It's from professional and personal, but so you can definitely reach out to me and we can connect there. And yeah, I would be happy to chat with anybody who needs my help.
Awesome. Well, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for helping us learn more about influencer marketing and the trends out there today. And appreciate your time. Thanks for being here, Mina.
Thank you so much for your time. It was such a pleasure talking to you. And yeah, well, like I mentioned at the beginning, it's my first time doing something like this, and you made it super easy for me. Thank you so
Cool.
much.
But it's a conversation. That's all this industry is. I'm so glad you could join me. All right, folks, keep on recruiting, and we'll see you out there. Take care.